Howdy, gentlemen. How's it going? Your favorite commissioner coming at you pre-recorded once again for another edition of the League Recap. This week we are through Week 10. We've gone through two-thirds of the season, or no, over two-thirds of the season, of the season. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, down to the wire. Got some pretty fun matchups to go through this week. As you can tell, I'm at work right now, taking a break from saving the city of Bloomington, and not sure what my plans are going to be for tonight as far as my availability. So I figured since I had a little downtime, I get this knocked out now, so that way you guys aren't waiting. You know, I know how pissed you guys get when you can't watch these on your, before you go to bed on Tuesday night. So I figured I'd get out there now. So anyways, excuse me, without any further ado, I'm going to dive into these quickly and get this recap knocked out for you gentlemen. So first matchup we have is matchup between Brandon and Mitch. And Mitch sneaks out the win. Excuse me, I'm looking on my phone here, so I'm kind of not gonna looks like I'm a little distracted. But Mitch, 114 to 104, beats Brandon. Brandon gets the weekly low score. So Mitch, you didn't win, you just didn't lose. Brandon, you are let's take a look here. Brandon, you are 2-8 and in 9th place. Mitch, you are 6-4 and in 2nd place. Mitch, you have one win above 500, and you're in 2nd place. So congratulations. Like I said, Mitch sneaks out the win here. Take a look at the matchup really quick. Brandon, 35 points out of Justin Jefferson. Honestly, at this point, we're not expecting much less out of him. But outside of that, nothing worth talking about on Brandon's team. He was obviously distracted this week by something. But yeah, he put together a pretty shitty lineup. He had 4 of his players not even scored double-digit points, so not good. Mitch, on the other hand, 21 points out of Trevor Lawrence. He had 25 points out of Stephon Diggs against your Minnesota Vikings. 22 points out of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, I mean, 114 points typically isn't that great of a week. But hey, when you face the weekly low score, it doesn't matter how many points you get. So, yeah, got that matchup wrapped up here. Let's move on to the next one. Next one we got is between Tim and Perk. The rematch of the brother-in-laws. And Perk, holy shit, congratulations, buddy. You just doubled your wins. 2-8 and in 10th place. Perk gets a win against Tim's slam dunk team, 6-4. Tim is in 5th place. The score was 119 to 107. Matchup wise, let's take a look here. So I'm gonna try to do this a little different so I'm not looking down. Josh Allen, 22 points for Tim. Nothing else worth mentioning. And nobody on his bench worth mentioning. So yeah, 22 points out Josh Allen against your Vikings. Should have been more, but he had that fumble, so it sucks to be him. Perk, on the other hand, had something called Justin Fields. Holy shit, 40 points. I feel like we've gotten a lot of 40-point getters in this league this year. In fact, I mean, hell, even over 30, which is really good. I feel like we've gotten a ton of those this year. 40 points out of Justin Fields. He had, what did he have, like 170-some rushing yards or whatever. 24 points out of Aaron Jones. 23.6 points out of Aaron Jones and 23.6 points out of Dalvin Cook. That's kind of interesting. He also had something called Jerry Jeudy get him no points. But hey, he didn't need it. He had enough. He had a 119 is enough to win. Kind of like Mitch, like I said, not like a crazy good score, but hey, a win is a win. So no one's gonna fault anybody for getting especially in this league. No one's gonna fault anybody for not scoring or scoring few points, but still winning. Next matchup is between Matt and Corey. And Corey, even though you think this league is rigged against you, you got the win. 4-6 and in 8th place against Matt's 5-5 team, who is in 6th place. It was 146 points from Corey to Matt's 109 points. Corey, you did score the most points this week. Congratulations. That's unlike you. Corey, let's see. You had 21 points out of Terry McLaurin, 23 points out of Saquon Barkley, 20 points out of Travis Kelce, 24 points out of James Conner. Yeah, I mean, you had a good week. You only your defense and your kicker got single-digit points. Pretty good. Matt, on the other hand, Jonathan Taylor showed up, first overall pick, 24 points, and that's it. So no bueno there for Matt. Nobody on his bench worth it. Jesus. Questionable IR on Matt's bench. God, what are you What do you, perk? I don't know where I was going with that joke. I'm sorry. So like I said, Corey's up to 8th. I don't know if he's up to 8th place, but he's in 8th place. Matt is in 6th place. And sorry, I don't have the magic numbers figured out yet. So I know nobody's clinched a playoff spot, so I don't know. The only thing is I do know is 7th place, which you'll find out here in a second. The losses went from 4 to 5. So everybody's magic number, if you won, went up. Well, if you won, went up by 2, I believe. I think everybody should have gone up at least 1, except for the person in 7th place. I think that's how it works. But yeah, anyways. So I feel like potentially somebody coming up in this next matchup could lock up next week, but I don't know. But anyways, next matchup, speaking of, battle of now 3rd place. I think Nick was in 2nd place going into this week. Mike versus Nick. I would say one of the closer, maybe not closer, but high scoring matchup of the week. Both teams scored over 120. That's the only matchup. So every matchup except for this one had both teams go over 110. Every other matchup this week had one team go under 110. So, yeah, a little tidbit there. Nick loses to Mike, 123 to 140. Mike is now 8-2 and in 1st place. Nick is 6-4 and down in 3rd place, losing to Mitch. Matchup wise, Mike had a lot of points. 32 points out of Patty Mahomes. I feel like, I always say every week, just Patty Mahomes at this point. 28 points out of Devontae Adams. 23 points out of Josh Jacobs. 22 points out of Tony Pollard. He had Raheem Mostert on his bench. He had Christian Kirk on his bench for 31.5 points. Didn't need it though. Mike is going to be the force to be reckoned with this year. If you guys haven't already figured that out. Nick, on the other hand, last night he had Jalen Hurts get his first loss, 23 points. Gabe Davis showed up against the Vikings, 21 points. 23.4 points out of Cole Kmet. He had, I think, 2 touchdowns or something like that. The only reason I know that is because I picked him up in my other league. And I don't know if you know this about my other league, but I'm in 1st place. And I needed a tight end because I had Hayden Hurst. And I didn't like his matchup. So I went out and picked up Cole. Or no, that might be my other league. In this other league, my tight end was on a bye. Or they were injured. Or no, that was my other league. Anyways, I picked up Cole Kmet. He had 2 touchdowns. So that was my other league, though. So, yeah. Yeah, nothing else worth mentioning on Nick's team. So, like I said, Mike 1st place by 2 games. And it should be worth looking at here, too. Mike is, I don't think I've talked about this in a while, but Mike is leading the most points scored over Mitch by 67. So, Mitch, you got a little bit of ground to make up, even if you don't finish in 1st, to get that $50. Remember, $50 to 1st place in the regular season, $50 to the person who scores the most points. And I think last year, I think it's only happened 1 year. It wasn't last year because Ben won. But I think it happened only 1 year where the person who finished 1st also had the most points. So, anyways. Last matchup, and as I always like to save the last matchup, or the matchup of the week for the last matchup. And it came down to myself and the cheater, Ben. And I guess, Ben, if you're comfortable with this win, that's up to you. You beat me 114 to 105. But, obviously, I don't know how many guys on IR you've been stashing and cheating your way to the top, but hey, you know what? If that's how you want to roll, Ben, that's fine. Whatever. I can't fault you for trying, but sorry, I had to call you out in front of our league. And as you know, as anybody in this league knows, maybe not Tim, but as anybody in this league knows, things like to get stirred up and blown out of proportion a little bit. If anybody knows that, it's Nick. But yeah, Ben, you weren't going to get away with that one. And somehow I got roped into that. Well, I think everybody got roped in. Anyways, point is, matchup. I had, on my team worth mentioning, something called CeeDee Lamb, 38 points. CeeDee Lamb scored 1/3 of my points. I have nobody else on my team worth mentioning. I did start the right quarterback, Geno Smith over Kirk Ice. See, I should change my name from Menage a Trois to what is it, Kirko Cousins or Kirko Ice or whatever they're calling him now. I should do that because I guess I did start Najee Harris this week, but usually I don't even start him. He sucks. Ben, on the other hand, is $50 Tua Tagovailoa pickup, 23 points. Got him 23 points. Yeah, only person on his team worth mentioning. Oh, I had Jeff Wilson on my bench for 22 points. Obviously, I should have known he was going to do that. But yeah, so there's that. I'm in 7th place, 5-5. Ben is in 4th place, 6-4. So between 2nd and 8th place, it's a 2-game spread. There's 4 teams at 6-4, 2 teams at 5-5, and 1 team at 4-6. So basically, Mike more or less has a playoff spot locked up. I mean, and obviously points scored counts. But yeah, there's really a 7-way battle for the last 5 spots. No offense, but Brandon and Perk probably aren't going to make it. So yeah, so I'm going to keep going here. Looks like my plow partner's coming down here, so I'm going to keep moving. But we'll talk to you boys later. Have a good week.